God raises up leaders in times of chaos and uncertainty. Moses, when the people of Israel are oppressed and are being held as slaves in Egypt. Joshua, after the people have been in the wilderness for years. Gideon, who is hiding in the winepress as the Midianites wage war outside. David, after the Philistines kill King Saul and his son Jonathan. That's only the first few books of the Bible. But for a moment, I want us to pause and to think about Joshua and who Joshua is, and in this moment where he is stepping forward as leader of the Israelites. So the story so far. God uses Moses to lead the people out of Egypt. They're on the way to the promised land. But the Israelites, it's fair to say, mess up more than once. In fact, quite a number of times. They complain, they fight among themselves, they blame Moses for taking them to this moment in the wilderness. Actually, they're saying we wish we were back in Egypt even at times. While they're there though, they make a covenant with God. He promises to be their God, to lead them to the promised land, and they promise that he will be their God. But pretty much straight away or immediately after they make that covenant, again, they mess up. And they find themselves in the wilderness for 40 years. Then enters Joshua, right before Moses is told he is going to die and he will never see the promised land. So Joshua enters, and he has been mentioned in Exodus when Moses comes down from the mountain to find the people worshipping this golden calf. But actually Joshua has remained loyal and faithful to God. We see him again in the book of Numbers. Joshua is one of the two faithful spies who comes back from Canaan and tells Moses that God can surely help them take the land. Joshua has been at Moses' side since he was a young boy. He has seen the people rebel and turn against God on numerous occasions. But he has also witnessed God's provision, his forgiveness, his mercy, and his faithfulness. Now we get to this moment where Joshua is being commissioned and appointed to take on leadership of the Israelites and lead them to the promised land. So let's jump into the story in Deuteronomy 31, and let me read a couple of verses for you. Verse 7. Then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel, "Be strong and courageous, for you must go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them, and you must divide it among them as their inheritance. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." Familiar words for some of us, I'm sure. Jump down then to verse 14. The Lord said to Moses, "Now the day of your death is near. Call Joshua and present yourselves at the tent of meeting where I will commission him." So Moses and Joshua came and presented themselves at the tent of meeting. Then the Lord appeared at the tent. I don't know about you, but if I was Joshua, I would be going into that tent expecting some huge manual or vision or something from God that actually is going to say, this is how you're going to do it. You're being commissioned. You're the one I've chosen. You've got this, Joshua. You're going to lead the people. That's what I would be expecting if I was Joshua. That's what I think I would need if I was Joshua. But that, interestingly, isn't what we read as we read on in this chapter. What we actually see is God saying to Moses, "Moses, write this stuff down." In fact, we read it in chapter 32, this song, as it's called. And actually what we hear is God say, "Do you know what? My people have been rebellious. They've got it wrong, Moses, and do you know what? They're probably going to get it wrong again." And that goes on for quite a number of verses. And Joshua actually is only mentioned in one verse, in verse 23. The only time that we see him mentioned in this is when God turns to him and says, "Be strong and courageous, for you will bring the Israelites into the land I promised them on oath, and I myself will be with you." Again, words we have already read and heard. Picture the scene with me for a moment. Perhaps imagine you are Joshua. You're being given the responsibility of leading in this moment. You have seen what has gone before. You have been through 40 years of the toughest times of your life. And actually in this moment, as I say, you may be expecting a manual, a vision, something that you can share with the people. Do you know, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to go. This is how we're going to step forward. I know it's been crazy. I know it's been tough, but actually let's do this. Let's move forward together. Joshua has seen all that has gone on in the wilderness. He has seen the people rebel. He has seen death. He has experienced hurt. He has known hunger, and he has witnessed the devastation of man trying to do things on their own. But he has also witnessed that God is good. He has seen his faithfulness. He has experienced his provision, and he has known the promises of God to be true. Now here you are, as Joshua, in this moment, in the tent, and this is the stuff that you're being reminded of. It's not a big battle cry. It's not a let's do this, we can take this land. But actually you're being reminded as you stand there and listen that this is not going to be easy. This is going to be a tough journey. You have seen that already, and actually God's saying, you know what, they're going to mess up again. That's what you're witnessing. Pause with me there for a moment. How are you feeling as Joshua? What's going through your mind? Are you thinking, yes, I can't wait to do this. I'm ready. I've got this. I know they've messed up, but they'll definitely not do it again. We're going to go. We're going to take the land. It's going to be great. Or are you thinking, hang on a minute. This past 40 years has been chaos. It has been a roller coaster. In fact, I'm not sure I have what it takes. Do you know what, Moses? I'm out of here. I'm away. I'm tired already. I'm done in. I have nothing left to give. And here you are, God, in the middle of this, saying how bad things could be and how much the people might rebel. And you're saying, be strong and courageous. I don't know. If I was Joshua, I am not sure how I would be feeling. Truth is, we don't know what Joshua was thinking. We don't read anything about what he said in that time. We don't read about his response or if he actually said anything to God. But we do know that Joshua didn't back away. He stepped up. He took God at his word when he said, I myself will be with you. This promise is all that Joshua needs to reassure him that he is not alone. As we stand in this moment with what has been the last 18 months or so and looking to what is to come, as we think about what it means to lead, about our role as a leader, as a volunteer, as we consider what it looks like to return or to get going again, what the new normal might look like, I wonder what's going on in your mind. Maybe you can identify with how Joshua was feeling in this moment. Scared, worried, thinking you aren't the right person for the job, wondering what if you have nothing left to give, tired, perhaps a bit clueless or lost, not sure what the future holds at all. I get that. I regularly feel like that as a mum, as a wife, as an employee. But I wonder, have we forgotten or missed those vital few words that we read at the end of that verse when God says, I myself will be with you. I myself, the God who has seen you through the last 18 months, who has been with you, who has been faithful, I myself will be with you, will continue to be with you. This isn't an empty promise. Joshua has known God's faithfulness. We have known God's faithfulness. We know that God goes before us. You may not have been handed the manual of how things are going to go or the way things are going to move forward. You might not have a big vision or any huge plan for what is next or how. You may feel a little lost. But God promises that he will be with you. As we read on into the book of Joshua then, we see that he faces challenges and obstacles. But again, we hear those familiar words, be strong and courageous. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Let me pick up the story again in chapter 3 in Joshua. Verse 2. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God and the priest carrying it, you are to move from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. And on down into verse 5. Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. I find those words really reassuring for this moment. We have not been this way before. We don't know where we are going to go. We don't know what tomorrow will look like, never mind what September might look like or next year. But verse 5, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Commit yourself, devote yourselves, give yourselves to the Lord, for tomorrow he will do amazing things among you. That is a promise that I want to hold on to as we move forward. God is at work. God is on the move. The people of Israel were told to watch, and when the ark of the covenant of the Lord moved, they were to move from their positions and follow. What position do you find yourself in right now? Are you watching and listening for God? Are you watching for him to move? And are you willing and ready to follow? You may not know where that will lead you. You may not know what that will look like or mean for tomorrow. But are you listening? Are you watching for God? And are you willing to follow? God is at work in our church, in our communities, and in the lives of our children and young people. And as leaders, as volunteers, we have the privilege to journey with them. And we don't do that on our own strength. We go with God before us and at our side. In this moment, are you positioned to step forward as a new leader, perhaps? Maybe God is asking you to move slightly your focus or your vision. Maybe he's repositioning you. Where is God calling you right now? Because God has something for you and for us to do as a church. He is at work, he is on the move, and we have the opportunity to be a part of that. Be strong and courageous, because God promises that he will be with us, just like he was with Joshua. Be strong and courageous. I will be with you.